Hi there team, Coach Alexa here. So we're just over a week on from the changing of the clocks, which kind of heralds the autumn is here, that the seasons are changing, that the daylight hours are getting shorter. And I certainly notice with a lot of the runners that I work with and my sports massage patients that this kind of has a bit of a shift in our bodies, and quite a lot of us, and this used to be me until relatively recently, don't really notice how much it impacts us. So on a practical perspective, the clocks change, and that takes a little bit of getting used to. It means that our evenings are much darker, much earlier. For those people who don't feel safe training outdoors when it's dark, that normally means quite a shift in training pattern for them. And also I think we kind of get drawn into winter. You know, we are mammals after all, and my eating habits change. You know, I'm less salads and more casseroles at this time of year. I'm more drawn to the hot drinks rather than the cold drinks. And we do have a little bit of a tendency, you know, it's autumn, it's the end of the sort of season of plenty, harvest time. So, you know, we are driven to kind of eat and store a little bit more to hold us out over the winter months. A nice reflection point for me certainly is my wonderful dog Jam, because she really notices the clocks changing. She has only just got to the point where she's not asking for her breakfast and dinner early now, or earlier than the usual amount of early. She is shedding her winter coat and shedding her summer coat and growing through her winter coat, which means my house is full of balls of hair. And she's also kind of settling into a bit of a, you know, an earlier evening bedtime, maybe slightly a bit more in hibernation mode. So, you know, her body adapts and, well, notices and then adapts to some of these changes in the seasons, and ours do too. So it might be that there's a practical change of routine because of the daylight hours and the clocks change. It might be just that, you know, motivation drops off a little bit. We don't get as much vitamin D. That impacts our energy levels, which is why it's good to supplement over this darker 6 months of the year in the UK, for everybody to supplement with vitamin D because we don't get enough. It might impact our sleep routine. It might impact how kind of awake we are during the day, because actually being out and seeing that sunlight, having the sunlight on our skin, wakens us up. So on a kind of grey autumnal day, we just don't get that lift of energy from being outside. So I guess what I'm saying here is just kind of notice, because there will be little, and they might be little, or they might be much more significant, like seasonal affective disorder, impacts on your body, your brain, your energy levels, your motivation, etc. There might be practical impacts, as I said, with the daylight changing. So just, you know, have a bit of a pause and notice those. And be gentle with yourself, be kind to yourself. It takes a little while, a few weeks, to bed in a new routine. Don't be too harsh on yourself if, you know, the occasional training session goes a little bit awry, or some habits that you've created have just unravel ever so slightly before they rebuilt again in a different way. And if, as always, you need any help from a training or health and wellbeing point of view, you know, keeping that motivation, keeping those habits in place, then just drop me a line.